Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
With the increase of immigrant students to Edmonton, NAIT looks to provide more education on English as a second language.
Now you know the resources there because you're looking for it.
A new bill proposal hopes to protect Alberta's gas station employees.
No family should ever lose a loved one because of a stolen tank of gas.
And with the first snowfall of the season, the city urges Edmontonians to prepare for winter.
They're leaning towards more precipitation than normal.
NewsWatch starts now.
Good evening. A new report released by Stats Canada shows a large influx in immigrants to Alberta.
With diversity at the core of our nation, we're looking into what NAIT is doing to accommodate the growing needs of ESL and newcomer students entering post-secondary institutions. Jessica Smith joins us live from the South Lobby with more on this story.
Thanks, Kennedy and Truman. The census report showed that over 200,000 immigrants have come to call Alberta home over the last 5 years. This population increase means added pressure to post-secondary students to afford an education to those who may not have English as a first language. At a recent Halloween event on school campus, I looked into what ESL and newcomer students, as well as faculty, felt about how NAIT has been meeting these growing needs.
This event, hosted by NAIT's International Students Club, provides volunteers and participants who have never experienced a Halloween before with a chance to celebrate this spooky tradition. More importantly, it provides an outlet for immigrant students to share celebrated holidays from their own cultures. Eric Estrada, who moved to Edmonton 3 years ago from Mexico, says that resources to support ESL students at NAIT have been available, but the onus remains on students to seek them out.
The reality is nobody's going to give you anything. You got to go find it.
Estrada explains that once a student has an understanding of the services available, they are more likely to utilize them.
When you are about to buy a car, same thing. You don't consciously look for the car, but once you know which one you're going to buy, you, out of nowhere, look at everywhere and it's there, right? Now you know the resources there because you're looking for it.
Estrada describes feeling so removed as a result of language barriers that he often struggled with the simple task of ordering himself something to eat, chowing down on cheese sandwiches for much of his first semester. Now, NAIT conducts newcomer needs assessments to better understand the barriers and pressure points faced by immigrant students.
What we are finding is there's a lot of intercultural barriers, whether it's in the services we provide to students, but also in the classroom.
NAIT is focused on further equipping instructors with the necessary skills to provide a diverse education. Currently, 65% of Canada's workforce comes from immigrants. Stats Canada forecasts that by the year 2036, 50% of our population will be foreign-born or the children of immigrants.
NAIT recently launched a bridging program with the School of Business called BizE. This program allows intermediate-level ESL students the opportunity to take business courses aligned with ESL requirements.
Jessica, does NAIT have any other bridging programs?
Right now, BizE is the only one on campus. However, there is talks to expand a bridging program within the DMIT program within the near future.
So Jessica, what are some examples of intercultural barriers faced by ESL students?
Intercultural barriers can look like anything in the classroom, from an immigrant student receiving the lesser workload in a group project because a peer feels that they are less capable. It can also look like insensitive comments being made towards language barriers and accents.
Thanks, Jessica. That's our Jessica Smith reporting live from the South Lobby tonight.
A new bill concerning the safety of gas station workers was introduced in the legislature this week.
No family should ever lose a loved one because of a stolen tank of gas.
Over the last 3 years, violent incidents at gas stations in Alberta have resulted in 5 deaths and serious injuries to others. The bill includes mandatory prepayment for fuel, as well as violence prevention plans for all stores across the province. The government says gas and dash incidents and robberies are the leading cause of these violent events.
We know this will be an adjustment for many retailers in Alberta. Our goal is to protect workers, not create hardship for owners.
If prepayment technology is not available for certain stores, retailers can implement other options such as a cash deposit or leaving a credit card with the cashier before fueling.
It's been a week of snow and slush as city crews are working to keep our roads safe.
Our Keegan Fleming has the city's road maintenance plan and more. Keegan.
That's right, guys. The snow is only just fallen, but the city and its citizens are already gearing up for a long winter ahead.
City officials want drivers to know that they are prepared for the snowy months ahead.
So city crews right now are mostly sanding and salting the roads, and where there is accumulation over 3 centimeters, we will be plowing.
The city has over 150 pieces of equipment ready to go 24 hours a day. While the city is ready to tackle the snow, drivers are also gearing up. Wait times to get your winter tires put on are getting longer. Local mechanics suggest getting them put on well before the first snowfall.
If you get them put on beginning of October, you're beating this rush. It makes our job easier. And when the snow's flying, they can drive past the tire shop and stick their tongue out at everybody and say, hey, I'm done and I'm ready.
While these conditions were expected, commuters are still not happy about them.
Nonsense, absolute nonsense today.
No?
Made no sense at all.
It's about double the time usually.
Pretty crappy. Yeah, icy.
It looks like drivers will be facing these conditions for a while, as local meteorologist Josh Clausen predicts that the cold and snow are likely here to stay.
Most of the forecasts are for colder than average temperatures this winter, and they're leaning towards more precipitation than normal.
Clausen says that a cold snap is getting ready to settle in and that we can expect daytime highs to be between -5 and -10 early this November. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Keegan.
That's our Keegan Fleming reporting.
For over 20 years, the city of Edmonton has been celebrating the holidays with Christmas light displays downtown, but it won't be the same this year. The Downtown Business Association says that due to the LRT construction near City Hall, the annual Christmas light display will not take place this year.
We weren't able to have any larger gatherings there. Typically our light up brings between 7,000 and 10,000 people downtown. And so they didn't have room for people to exit if there is an emergency, and they just didn't want to have that large a gathering.
The city of Edmonton says the festival will be back in 2019. In the meantime, the Downtown Business Association has partnered with the Santa Claus Parade of Lights happening November 18 near Jasper Ave.
November is Family Violence Prevention Month, and Mayor Don Iveson made the proclamation earlier this week.
I proclaim November 2017 Family Violence Prevention Month in Edmonton, Alberta's capital city.
This year's theme is Men and Boys Are All Part of the Solution. Michael Cameron was the keynote speaker at the event and shared his personal experience of losing a loved one to domestic violence.
You see, if ever I thought this was an issue that I could ignore, if ever I thought this was an issue that wouldn't touch my life, I had a heavy dose of reality thrust upon me that month.
For more information on other events taking place this month, visit endfamilyviolence.alberta.ca.
Industry leaders gathered at NAIT for the second annual Research Symposium.
At the city, we believe emerging technologies, research, and innovation are keys to making Edmonton a more global, competitive, and uplifting city and a place of opportunity and growth.
Guest speakers and industry leaders gave their insights on how to innovate and adapt with Alberta's evolving trends. Dr. Glenn Feltham says that these 4 topics were chosen because of their connection to Alberta's economy.
We try and choose topics and areas where we're seeing the greatest amount of change. These are the topics that Albertans need to understand and that NAIT and industry need to work on if Alberta is going to have the prosperous future that we all desire.
NAIT also revealed the progress on the Productivity and Innovation Center, which will be open to allow easier collaboration between industry and students. It will be the site of the next research symposium.
MacEwan University's Allard Hall was sweeter than ever, celebrating its latest success in urban beekeeping.
McEwen community has completely and wholeheartedly supported our beekeeping initiative.
As part of their celebration, a documentary was screened covering the project, as well as a Q&A session with other beekeeping experts. One panelist says that with their local beehives, it provides a wealth of not only honey, but also knowledge for the community.
We really want to share this information with as many people as we can. We don't want to make money off of it, we just want to share our stories. So if we can get other organizations or other universities, if we can help them put bees on their building and help them with their beekeeping project, we'd love to do that.
McEwen has weekly tours of its beehives, and their documentary will be available to watch on their Office of Sustainability webpage.
A celebration for immigrant women leaders with Project 150 Cultural Night.
The GROW team is pleased to welcome you to the very first Cultural Award Night in recognition of inspirational immigrant women.
This celebration had immigrant women from all over Canada participate in honoring the accomplishments these women face. This event was hosted to celebrate women as part of Canada's 150th birthday.
At one point, as an immigrant, I was desperately in need of somebody to assist me, direct me, inspire me with their story. There was none. So when I noticed Canada was celebrating 150, I thought, well, that would be the best time to come up with an initiative like this.
Other events are planned to be hosted across Canada. Their next Speak Out Women series event is in Toronto on November 18th.
The Edmonton Down Syndrome Society hosted its 6th annual Uniquely Me fashion show. Those with Down syndrome, as well as local celebrities, took to the runway and wowed the crowd. The evening was complete with elegant treats, a silent auction, a photo booth, and of course, the fashion show. The fundraiser is meant to create awareness about the unique abilities and potential that lies within those born with Down syndrome.
They are active citizens in the city of Edmonton, and we want people to understand and see their potential and to realize they are employable. They just need a chance.
All proceeds raised from the event went directly to the Edmonton Down Syndrome Society.
A wicked chance for students to show off their welding skills in a festive competition was held on Saturday. CLAC, a welding trading facility in Edmonton, hosted their 2nd annual Wicked Welding Competition. Students from 7 Edmonton area high schools put their skills to the test as they were challenged to design and build a Halloween-inspired sculpture using various welding techniques. One of the groups was an all-girls team, which is unique to the male-dominated competition. But the team said that gender isn't a factor.
We're here to do our thing and to weld, and if there's male competition, great. If there's female competition, that's fine too. We're just here to learn and work together and do some art.
The competition is meant to provide support to the welding community in Edmonton and put an emphasis on building skills and teamwork, especially among students. Coming up after the break, Movember has arrived and in full mustache fashion.
The men's health campaign means a lot to students and staff at NAIT.
November to me is that month where men are empowered and reminded to take control of their health and mental health.
And in sports, I have a ton of OOPS action for everyone here as the ACAC soccer finals went underway, and the women's basketball team here at NAIT looks for some chemistry. I have all that and more coming up.
It's cold and snowy again in Edmonton. Find out what's coming for the rest of the week in weather.
Is your lunch just a boring sandwich?
Time to be a trendsetter. Try an open-faced sandwich.
Shake up your lunch weekdays at 12:30 with the new Music Nooner, only on NR92.
Well, Kennedy, as you know, it's the beginning of November, but it's already starting to look a lot like Christmas.
It is. You know, that first snowfall gets me every single year. Maverick, how are things looking for the weekend?
Well, it's looking a little rough in southern Alberta. In Calgary, we have a low of -13, a high of -9, with a 60% chance of precipitation. Moving on to Jasper, we've got a low of -19, a high of -8. Head up Marvin Basin, students opening up pretty quick. Moving on to Fort Mac, we've got a low of -14 and a high of -6. Be careful up there in the north. In Edmonton, we have -12 and a high of -7. There might be a little bit of flurries on Saturday, so look out for that. Our averages usually in Edmonton is -4 and +4. And in 1919, we had a record low of -24. And then just last year in 2016, we had a record high of +20. That's it for weather this weekend.
NewsWatch weather is brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
Well, November is about to get a lot hairier with Movember kicking off.
Yes, and not only is this a month of great opportunity for men to grow out their facial hair while raising money for a good cause, it helps spread awareness for men's health across the world, and NAIT is getting in on the action. Our reporter Alicia Johnson has more.
A special booth was opened for the beginning of Movember that was there to teach students about the ongoing health issues that men face. Jamie Harrison, a student here at NAIT, explains why he and his friends take part in this event every year.
It actually means a lot to me because there's no one in my family has been affected by it, but one of my best friend's dad actually, he managed to beat it, but he had prostate cancer.
Unfortunately, it is not uncommon to know a man that suffers or has suffered from the various issues that Movember covers, such as prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and depression. In fact, when prostate cancer is detected early, the survival rates are 98% versus 26%. 1 in 20 men die from testicular cancer, and 3 out of 4 suicides are men.
November to me is that month where men are empowered and reminded to take control of their health and mental health. And very often than not, it's simple stuff. It's just booking a yearly physical. That's all it is. It's calling that other guy friend and saying, hey, I'm here to talk. It's reminding people in your social circle that you're caring and taking care of your physical health and your mental health.
NAIT started holding events for Movember 3 years ago, and organizers say they hope it will continue to grow. More events for Movember will be spread across NAIT in the weeks to come. For NAIT NewsWatch, I'm Alicia Johnson.
Well, it's time for sports, and I've heard it's been a disappointing week for one of our NAIT basketball teams.
Yeah, I heard that as well. Ryan, what did the rest of the week look like for sports?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, guys, and it would have been nice to have gotten a weather report from Maverick before I went to that soccer game on Sunday. Missed the memo, but we'll get into that later. Let's start with some NAIT basketball, as the coach of the women's basketball team is expressing some disappointment after a couple weekend losses. The Ukes fell in both of their games against Lakeland this weekend, dropping the team's record to an even 3-3. One of the biggest faults the Ukes had on Saturday proved to be their lack of rebounding, being ousted 51-35 in that category. After the game, coach Todd Warnick voiced some displeasure.
So, Coach, obviously a tough loss out there, but you guys battled hard. What's some of the positives you can take out of that stuff?
I mean, when we play together, we're a very good team. When we don't, we're not. That's the way it is.
So getting into the thick of things in the season here, how do you think your team's sort of gelling? Sort of new faces here, but
we still have a long way to go.
Yeah. The Ukes will try and get back in the win column tonight as they're in Grand Prairie for a 2-game series. And like I was saying, the rain and snow didn't stop the NAIT Ukes and the Keanu Huskies men's soccer teams from battling it out on the field for the ACAC championship. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ryan, I thought Sherwood Park is always so bright and sunny. You're wrong. But the nasty weather didn't stop these guys from playing, so let's bring it into the first half. 6 minutes in, KC forward Joseph Lambell slides the ball under keeper Francesco Marazzo for the goal. 1-0 Keanu. 30 minutes in, KC still putting pressure on NAIT as Bianchi plays a little give and go with Lambell, but he can't beat the keeper. KC still up by 1. Into the second half, Keanu keeping that attack as a cross is whipped into the box, but broken up nicely by Galvez Cesarez to keep it within 1. NAIT would finally get a couple chances, but it was too little too late as the Huskies hang on to this one and defend their ACAC title. And a couple of big high school football games get underway in just a couple of hours, and a first for these young football stars playing at Commonwealth Stadium. Paul Kane is just one of the 6 teams that will be playing in the championship games being held at Commonwealth. This is the first time these championships will be held at the home of the Eskimos.
A bigger stage is always going to change our perspective on how the game's going to turn out and how the game's going to go, but internally and during practice, I feel like we're still prepared no matter what the venue is. So.
Well, it's going to be really exciting. Anytime you make a championship game, it's exciting, but to have the opportunity to play in Commonwealth Stadium, it will be awesome.
Bundle up, folks. 2 games will go tonight as Paul Kane and Strathcona will face off at 5 p.m. for the Div 2 finals. And after that, the Div 1 finals will commence as Harry Ainley High School battles Belrose for the championship. Next week, we will see Div 3 finals at Commonwealth with the teams still to be announced. Tickets are $5 at the door. And the force is very strong with the Edmonton Oil Kings as they release a new jersey celebrating a very popular movie franchise. Looking sharp, boys. The Star Wars themed jerseys were showcased by players for the first time ever on Monday. They include different features, including drawings of Star Wars ships and Edmonton Oil Kings written in a Star Wars language along the cuff. The jerseys will be auctioned off, with the proceeds going to the Sorrentino's Compassion House.
Well, we rely on the community support in order to keep our guest fees reasonable at $25 a night for the women who have to stay with us. So we rely on community support. So games like this and the community rallying to support women going through cancer, it means so much.
You can look for these good jerseys tomorrow as the Star Wars night kicks off November 4th as the Oil Kings play host to the Saskatoon Blades at Rogers Place. And from junior high teams to college teams, it's the season for smashing, bumping, and setting, with volleyball season getting underway. I decided to head to the Saville Center to try and test out my serving skills. Okay, so we're here today at the Saville Center with former MacEwan Griffin and Red Deer College athlete Mark Ritter. Mark's a volleyball guy, unfortunately I am not, so he's going to teach me a little bit about the game, more specifically serving. Mark, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so basically there's 4 different kinds of serving that you can do. You've got your standing float serve and your standing spin serve, and of course your jump float and jump spin. Okay. I think we're going to work on the standing float and standing spin today.
All right, well before we get into that, I just want to say thanks to the Edmonton Volleyball Center Society for having us out here today, and of course the Saville Center. So without further ado, let's get into it, I guess. So first we started with the standing float. I wasn't all that great, so Mark had to give me some tips.
I started out with my left foot forward. I want my toss to reach the apex of the peak of my hand here, okay? So you're gonna toss out either one hand or 2, doesn't matter. Arm back, follow through.
After that, we tried the standing spin serve. Again, wasn't that good, so Mark gave me some more tips.
Okay, so basically with the next serve, the standing spin serve, there's really only a couple of things that change. One thing is going to be the toss, and the other thing is going to be your contact, okay?
So after a couple tries with both serves, I felt I had to challenge Mark in at least some way. So let's try it out then. I'm going to try and return some of your balls, see how many I can get here.
Yep, sounds good.
Hands up. I'm done. Wait, that was aggressive.
Well, on the plus side, you did get some over the net.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, a little fun fact, the fastest volleyball spike ever recorded reached 132 kilometers an hour. And I'm pretty sure Mark was close to that on that last serve.
That's crazy. Good thing you didn't get hit by one of those. Well, coming up after the break, a family fun event that supports a serious cause.
How this fun run is making a difference in the lives of people with diabetes.
Everybody loves to get dressed up at Halloween, and what better reason than to do it multiple days.
This week in entertainment, we take a look at Lest We Forget, a musical tribute coming to the Winspear Center this weekend. And listen for my secret word for a chance to win 2 tickets to Daddy's Home 2.
Take your imagination on a trip with NR92 Movies You'll Never See, an audio drama that takes you swinging through the jungles of Africa or strolling down the streets of Paris.
Movies You'll Never See on NR92.com, the station for the students.
NewsWatch music provided by Martin Mayer Productions.
Clothing provided by Buller Trucking.
This week in our community, we kicked off the Halloween festivities for a good cause.
The Alberta Diabetes Foundation held its 16th annual Halloween Howl Run, and we went to check it out.
All right, let's get some high knees going, guys. Let's go.
The annual run raises awareness and support for diabetes research in Alberta. Edmontonians donned their Halloween costumes a little bit early and pledged to compete in their choosing of a 3, 5, or 10-kilometer run or walk. We got in on the fun of the group warm-up and cheered on the runners in their various races.
Everybody loves to get dressed up at Halloween, and what better reason than to do it multiple days, the more that you can dress up, and so that's why it's just fun.
This year's run raised over $100,000, which will go towards diabetes research. The foundation says that the money going into research is not only helping the 1 million Albertans that are living with diabetes treat their disease, but also goes towards finding a cure. It's starting to get pretty cold outside, and I am so thankful for indoor events.
Me too. I hate being outside in the cold, but I love getting out of the house. So Alex, what do you have going on in entertainment?
A musical tribute to honor the men and women who serve our country takes to the stage this weekend as the Royal Canadian Legion presents, lest we forget, a musical tribute. Performers were busy this week rehearsing for the big show on Saturday. The Cosmopolitan Music Society has over 100 instrumentalists and vocalists performing alongside the Legion's Color Party to bring this musical tribute to life at the Winspear Center.
I think it's a phenomenal concert, very well produced and very well economical, and it's a remembrance tribute, and that we've got to remember our past or we're doomed to repeat it again. So.
Tickets are still available for the event and the doors open at 6:30. Romance and physics are brought together in a new unique story about infinite possibilities in Shadow Theatre's new production of Constellations. Constellations is a romantic journey that begins with a simple encounter between a man and a woman. This production makes you question everything you think you know as you watch each infinite possibility in their relationship come to life. This journey raises questions about the difference between choice and destiny.
A wonderful, beautiful romantic story of boy meets girl and what happens when you make one free will choice that changes things, or when the circumstances bring you together at the wrong time and that sort of thing.
Shadow Theatre's production of Constellations is playing at the Varscona Theatre until November 12th. Well, the chemistry between Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg hits an all-time high in Paramount's new movie, Daddy's Home 2.
Hello? Grandpa Kurt?
In this hilarious sequel, Brad, Will Ferrell, and Dusty, Mark Wahlberg, join forces to make this the best Christmas ever. But their newfound bond is put to the test when both their fathers arrive just in time to throw the holiday into complete chaos. If you like Daddy's Home 1, you won't want to miss out on more dads and more stuff as Daddy's Home 2 hits theaters on November 10th. Do you want a chance to win some Daddy's Home 2 swag? The secret word is Christmas. Tweet us at NAIT NewsWatch for your chance to win a pass for 2 for you and your friend to see Daddy's Home 2 in theaters. That's all I've got for entertainment, guys. Thanks for watching.
And that's all we have for NAIT NewsWatch this week.
Thanks for watching.